welcome to another episode of Global Tactical Solution Airsoft Review. Now, this, as most people probably have seen before, is an M4. It's the G&G GR16 blowback version, two-toned. And I bought this a while back from a website called Airsoft World, which is once again a very good website that I would recommend. They have very, very good delivery. In other words, you only spend about a day standing around going, I want my new gun, which is good. Now, as I've already said, it's an M4. Now the M4 is a carbine version of the M16. It fires 5.56 standard NATO caliber, which is fairly common. Most guns, including the British SA-80, use these, the FN2000, things of that description. Now, the original M16 was restricted to single and 3-shot burst. It was a piece of junk, as the poor blokes in Vietnam found out. The M4, which was originally called the GR16, suffered from similar problems. The sights, the original sets of sights, were adjustable and had to be adjusted every time you wanted it to move a different range, which had to be done with a piece of wire or a ballpoint pen or something, which isn't great when you've got a ton of screaming NVA running at you with pointy sticks and AKs if you dropped it. Now, also, the stock was originally a spring-loaded one designed to dampen recoil, but the problem with that one is if you had a bayonet fitted to the front, you couldn't stab with it or even hit anyone with the butt, which is once again a little bit useless. Now, the M4 that we know nowadays is the M4A1, no longer the GR16, and it's had a few changes made to it, namely different style of butt and a different heat dissipation method, which reduces the chance of it jamming. It's still, in the world, it's considered a very, very good gun in short terms, but not great for dragging through mud, dust, that kind of thing. Now the airsoft version, this is a G&G GR16, as I've already said, in two-tone, and it is, the whole two-tone has been moulded. The plastic is moulded, so there's no chance of scratching it off, which is very, very useful, as you don't have to go through legislation if you've accidentally knocked it off by falling over or something. Once again, I'll explain that the two-tone is required by British law for anyone in America. Now, the problem with this one when I first got it was way too powerful. It was shooting at 360 FPS when the limit was 350. So maybe not too powerful, but still over the limit. Now, a friend of mine had a similar problem and he paid 35 quid, which is roughly $40, $45 to get it fixed, and I couldn't be bothered to do that. So, on the end, whilst you can see the normal M4 muzzle, underneath that you should be able to see a CNC machined aluminium barrel bit. Now that just threads onto the normal 40mm thread on the end of the M4 type barrel. It reduces the muzzle velocity by the means of a tension disc, which just puts different tensions on a piece of rubber inside. Now that just reduces it. Okay, now other than that, the gun is great. I had some problems with the wiring at one point, but once again easily solved by removing the motor from the grip. Now, the inside of the motor is a metal motor with a plastic hop-up in. The hop-up is very, very stiff and is exposed by pulling that back, which on a real one would cock it, but it also exposes and opens the dust cover. But in the airsoft version it exposes the hop-up. Now the hop-up's very, very stiff. It's a pain in the bum to change, and that's the nicest thing I can say about it. The rest of the gun is mostly plastic, nice and light. The buffer tube is metal, along with the sling mounts. The scope piece, which I didn't know when I first bought it, changes to a smaller one. Also the inner barrel and the guider for the heat shield. Now, interestingly, there is this thing on here. And in the real one, that's the cartridge eject. You'd pull it back and you'd press the cartridge eject to ping out a jammed cartridge. In this one, according to G&G, it relaxes the spring, which is very, very useful at the end of the game. So, useful. The safety mechanism is a normal Western system. So, first click to semi, second to full auto. This differs slightly from the Soviet version, which is first click to full auto, second click to semi, which sort of gives the idea of the Russian mentality. But, right, so, besides that, very, very good. All very interesting. Now, the battery goes in to the front compartment by pulling down this delta ring, which is really, really stiff. I have to warn you, it takes two people most of the time. And then the whole thing just comes off and you plug a normal nunchuck type battery in. Now, the gun is supplied with a 450 round high cap, which is metal and is stamped with 5.56 times 4.5. It's slightly bigger, about an inch longer than the real steel version, but it fits 450 rounds in. Now, I've also bought one of these, which is a Cybergun Vietnam mag. Holds 180 rounds, so not as many, but it looks cool. Now, firing, I may not have said this earlier in the video, but it's a blowback. That piece of metal reciprocates, which is very, very cool. So, without further ado, on semi, and on full auto. Now, I have to warn you, with low batteries the thing tends to jam, which is just a pain, but it's just a quick flick to full auto and that will fix itself. Okay, so the only cons, bit dodgy wiring, slightly too powerful, and with the muzzle reducer on I can only fire it on semi. That's just life. Anyway, I play CQB sites, so it's semi anyway. Thank you for watching Global Tactical Solutions Airsoft, and hopefully we'll bring you another vid soon. Save itself.